Peace and love. Good morning. It's AM for me here in Griffin, having my cup of coffee and looking outside and watching the birds and just watching the trees just blossom every day as we get deeper and deeper into spring. So yeah, I wanted to jump on here, vibe out with everyone tuning in, and see where I go with things. Heads up though, just for people listening in, a lot of things that I speak about is not scripted. This is, what's coming from the top of my mind. I kind of wanted to see where I go on things when I think like that. Bear with me. I kind of kicked myself in the butt last night listening to myself, wishing I had better vocabulary. So I'm sure as I get warmed up a bit more, the words that I would like to use would eventually flow out. So yeah, as you hear me speak, it's coming right off the top of my mind and expressing it the best I can, to those listening in. It is Friday. We're almost done with this month. It's going so quick. I don't know. These days, these weeks, these months are just flying. I can remember the same time last year when I moved here in Griffin, Georgia, where I'm like, where do I even begin, right? It's so big out here. I still yet have really ventured Georgia, but for the parts that I have, I appreciate it. I get to learn something every time I get myself out there with the family. For us, this weekend, my daughter has a soccer game, so we're looking forward to that. We're big supporters when it comes to our children's activities. Our daughter, our youngest, is into sports, so this is her second season going at it, and we just love it. We love seeing her out there. We love seeing her happy. We love her seeing her free. And that's one of the reasons we decided to come out here to Griffin, Georgia. I'm sure it's been really heavy for all of us that's experiencing this COVID, time period. It's such a it's very new. At the same time, it's starting to be the norm as well. So for anyone that has lost any loved ones during this period, my love and my prayers and just all of that, the hugs, and just I send it to you, and I hope you're well. But yeah, I wanted to, during the time everything started occurring, I wanted to be more free with my family, finding a way to be able to continue life where my children weren't so locked down. And I have, that, as well as just being able to see our way through this time. How can I motivate my family to still live it up, with everything happening? And we were very fortunate. We had some friends out here in Georgia that had bought land, and what a perfect time to say during April, we received our taxes. We had a good amount, and we just decided to just go and stay with our friends for a month or two and get on our feet, and that's what we did. From California, from the Bay Area to Griffin, it took us 7 days, and that's only because, we stopped, we sightseed what was available on the way. We got to stay in certain states a little longer just because we vibed out in certain places. Like, I really appreciated Arizona. But still, even though we were in Arizona and we were like taking 2 days just to leave Arizona, I was like, oh my gosh, we were barely halfway to Georgia. Like, oh my God, we got to get back on the road. And mind you guys, I'm taking my car and my husband's taking his car. We loaded what we could. My husband was driving his SUV and I had my Honda Civic. Those that know Honda Civics, they're pretty small, but he had his Pilot, so he had the children in there and some of our belongings in one, and then I had myself in my car with most of the belongings. So the feel of being with your family through the time of the trip was just, I missed that, but we'd had to do what we had to do. After Arizona, we kind of just pushed it as far as we could. When the night came, we kind of just found a room, laid it down, did what you normally would do when you're traveling. So that was what we were doing all the way to Georgia. Another state that I really appreciated was Texas. Shout out to Texas. I mean, I didn't get to really meet anyone there, but just the feel of it, and in certain parts, it was nice. We actually just missed that whole outbreak of how it was so cold and people were affected by, that winter, like that whole thing of just it being so below zero out there for them during that period. I wish I had better words for it, but they went through a heavy time and a lot of people were very much affected. And I remember us staying at this hotel, and this gentleman was telling me about that we just missed it. And I remember hearing about it. He was saying how cold it was out there and how they were affected, and he was very fortunate to be able to stay in work for a hotel and have the accommodations for like heat and things like that to stay warm. So, but he could remember clearly on how it affected the residents of Texas. So, it was very mind-boggling to know that we're just like, wow, we were in the same area that the people were affected by that weather. So yeah. After that, we traveled out, getting closer and closer to Georgia. I can mention some other states. Not too fond of New Mexico. I know that much. It was very windy, very, very windy. I can remember trying to unload. We stopped in New Mexico. It was like towards, the evening, and my children didn't have anything, we didn't have dinner yet, and it was really windy, still having to unload the car and then find something to eat. Mind you, just going in and out of the car gave me chapped lips. I was like, you know what? It's all bad. It's all bad here. Like, I don't like chapped lips, and I barely was outside that long. So, damn. So, yeah, New Mexico. Oh, and the water. Oh my God. The water there. I don't know what's up with the water in New Mexico. It made my skin so dry. The water was very, whatever you call when it's very harsh to your skin, that's another effect that I got. Like chapped lips. I made my skin extra dry from showering it, right? I just was done with New Mexico. I was like, I got to get out of here. Even my children weren't feeling the vibes. No sun was coming out during that time. So, but hey, shout out if you live out there in New Mexico. I'm not really, that ain't my cup of tea. So keeping it moving after that, getting closer and closer to Georgia. And it's as we get closer and closer to Georgia, you start seeing the trees, like you see the trees more, you're getting closer and closer, and it's just like, yeah, it was weird though. when I got into the state of Georgia, I didn't even realize it. I must have missed the sign. Mind you, I'm driving by myself. My husband has the children. And all of a sudden, a hawk hit my windshield. I don't know if it was a welcoming or, but it was very, I don't know. I mean, it was like, wow, hopefully I didn't hurt it. But that was something that I will always remember coming into Georgia. Not seeing that we were in the state of Georgia and just having a hawk hit my window. And I know hawks to be at a higher level, and I'm on the freeway, so I'm like, wow, this must be some kind of symbolism in some sense, but, yeah, so we're in Georgia. We're just excited, finally hitting the state. Still have some time to get to where we need to go, though, but I'm just honking the horn, rolling down my windows, taking in that air, being a bit emotional now that I'm thinking about it. Just really happy I made this decision with my husband, to be able to move to Georgia during such a heavy time, I'm so sorry. It was a very hard decision to make. I am the only daughter to my parents. So, anyone out there that has responsibilities when it comes to your parents, I could feel you on that. I'm 40 years old, and most of my life was surrounded, absolutely was surrounded around my parents. I was very fortunate to have parents that were well off, that could provide for themselves and, and things like that. And shout out to my mom, for everything that she's done for me. She was a big provider in my life and still is, it's something that she does naturally. She's always the one to help out for myself and my family. It's always been like that. And she does that from the kindness of her heart. She is a nurse. She's been a nurse for over 50 years and she's still doing it. I tell you, it's nothing like being cared for by her hands. It's one thing to be in something because it pays well, but it's another thing to do something that you're passionate about. And my mother is that. She's cared for people, where she was born at, which was the islands of Samoa. And she came to the States and continued on her practice in the medical field. And she's a nurse and she's always been, and she has that, some things under her belt that some people now that are getting the education to be a nurse don't have. My mom knows how to make people more comfortable by the techniques that she knows, that she's has been trained to understand the tools when it comes to hands-on, not more so the technology part of things. I know education now is more through a screen, and as far as getting that one-on-one hands-on learning, it's kind of probably it's not as it was before. And it's nice to have those techniques, any way you can get, those, just having more skills on things that you're good at. My mom definitely has that, and I'm so grateful to be her daughter. She's just amazing. She cares for humanity. especially when, you're unable to help yourself. My mom has been doing that for some time, and she does it well. So shout out to you, Mom. I love you. My dad, his occupation was more so, working for the shipyards. He was a rigger. Those that know that profession, he did that almost all his life. He was good at it. He retired doing that. So it's not an easy job, but when you're a strong man and you're coming from the islands or, wherever you're coming from and you're doing that type of work, it does take a lot of muscle and energy. And, shout out to you out there that's, holding it down like that. It's not an easy job. But yeah, I left California, but I left California knowing that my parents were able to take care of themselves financially, physically. So it gave me a peace of mind because I still have yet found my destination at that time, and I felt like there was more outside of California, more opportunity, being more free, especially during this time of being locked down. And when the lockdown was going down in California, masks were showing up and 6 feet apart, things like that were occurring before we left, and for me, it was, very difficult to transition. For me, it was just like, okay, wait a minute. My children still want to be out there and explore, and it's limited right now. So, and I respect it, I respect this time, and, I just felt like I had to push myself and my family in a direction that we can see things a little bit differently. And it just so happened to be, Georgia. We had some good friends at the time offer their home to us for a month or two to come and stay and get ourselves going. And sure enough, we got here in Georgia. They had land, 7 point something acres. So the home wasn't that big, but it was enough to fit our family and their family, as well as ours, so we can be able to get us our own place. And that's what we did. It took about 3 months to do that. My husband ended up getting a job. He was out of work for a month, but that was it. I mean, that whole month was more so like, okay, let me just take in what Georgia has for a second with all that traveling and all that work previously. Let me enjoy this moment being that we were able to at that moment. And that's what he did. And then it wasn't that it was hard for him to find a job. I think the hardest part was the pay cut. Out here in Griffin, well, I'm not going to speak for Griffin. Out here in Georgia, the pay is very different from California. A lot of jobs that I could remember being 15 and up definitely are 15 and under. So that was hard to wrap our heads around. But he finally found a job that, the pay wasn't all that great, but the advancement that they were, mentioning to him in the time that they were saying, my husband took that chance and say, okay, I mean, what else? I mean, I need to start working. So he did. He took a pay cut, and it took 6 months to get at least close to what he was normally getting paid in California. So he did what he was great at in the warehouse. He actually had other abilities that, this warehouse wasn't familiar with. And he actually came through in his position to be able to show his work ethic. So, and it got him to a higher position, a higher pay. And so, it's hard to really see where things are going, especially if you're so familiar with one way of living. Having that space to really say, if you don't know, then you don't assume. That's my take on it. Don't assume like the worst. But when you're making decisions, something like that, traveling and finding accommodations, especially if it's far out of your comfort zone, you know, you have to be that strong person to know that, you know what, it's going to work out. And even if there is a setback in the pay, out here in Griffin, Georgia, it all matches up. Rent out here is very cheap compared to California. It is rising a bit as well, but I mean, what I see and where I'm at today in California, if that were my living accommodations, I would not be paying what I'm paying now compared to how California would be putting a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, a townhome. We're paying nowhere near what people were paying in California. Our place is livable. It's a place to really start off. Anyone knowing what that is, a starter place with your family, you know that's not it. But you need to be somewhere, right? And if it works with your budget, then that's even better. The only downfall myself and my husband have to sacrifice is the fact that he works 45 minutes out. And so, with the weather conditions out here, I would say most of the time it's raining here. But other than that, you get the different weathers in between. You get the rain, you get the sun, you get the heat, especially the summer's coming up. I experienced the summer when we first moved here. It was hot. We even had rainy days and it was warm. California, I'm not used to that. And when I described that to my mother, she would say, it's like the islands, in Samoa, it would rain and it's so warm out there. And it's like, wow, I won't think I'm ever going to go to Samoa, but to know my mom can relate, and to tell her the feeling of Georgia and the weather, she's probably it brings her back, to where she's from. So it's definitely a different conversation when I speak to my parents about my experience out here, because they've never been here. My mother, from Samoa to California, the Bay Area, she's never been outside of that. So to see her daughter making these choices before, she was a little nervous about it. She always is she's so... No matter how old I am, I'm always going to be her baby. I'm 40 years old and, she still calls me as if like, what do you need? Or just that feel of that motherly love, just thank you for making me feel like that, Mom. She plays a big role in how I raise my children, and that love that she gave me throughout my childhood really helped in giving that to my family, and just building me to who I am when it comes to how I give myself to my family. I would have never learned that if it wasn't for her. But things weren't always that perfect. I had a rough childhood. My parents divorced early in my younger days, and I never knew how that affected me until later on in life. And I will talk about that in another video on the effects and how it affected myself and my relationships with throughout my time, and how the development, my mental development was so I couldn't reach a point of understanding because of my childhood, being able to meet my relationships halfway was due to my upbringing. So yeah, that's a whole different topic, but I don't blame my parents for anything. Everything in this life is all a learning lesson. And when things are rough and tough in the beginning, it actually prepares you for another time later down the line, to where you're more prepared and able and responsible and mature to handle a situation that arises. So that comes with growing, from our lessons that we learn. But again, I'm going to share that on another time. This is more so, just how I've been traveling, from California to Georgia, the feeling when I touched down. Now that we're already in a year, it's great. Got to know some really good people. And we weren't the only ones. I mean, mind you, I have no family out here. Myself, my husband, we came out here, no family, just like we don't know nobody. We're just very open, loving people. We like to get to know people that have good energy. And it kind of it bounces right off. You'll know when, the right people come into your life. And that's what's been happening. We've been attracting really good people out here in Georgia. So I'm grateful for that. Haven't came across anything crazy, how I see the news out here in Georgia. It's when it comes to the news, I get mind boggled on how, gosh, that's really happening out here. I have yet to encounter it, nor do I want to, myself and my family. But I really feel it's the energy. Now that I've been working on myself and I've been going through different things since 2017, I'm starting to see how things are starting to unfold. We are light beings, and energy is everything. That's what I'm starting to learn. And if I'm gonna go out there, if I'm gonna leave my house angry and upset, and I'm gonna attract that. If I feel like having an attitude, or if I become angry, I'm gonna attract that. And it really is like that. I can remember there was an incident though, here in Griffin. I did react. Yeah, I did. So, we're going to Walmart. I forgot. It was just like, we just had to go for some reason. And it was during the holidays. And it was packed, and there was this nice parking, like right there by the door. I would say 10 parkings away from, entering Walmart. I mean, anyone that goes to Walmart a lot, when it's really packed, that's a great parking, right? And I'm signaling, and it's a one-way, right? To be able to get that parking. And here comes a lady that's coming from the other direction, knowing damn well that you shouldn't be coming through that way, but you can't be it's common sense, but hey, not everyone does it. But this particular person, and mind you, I'm sitting there signaling, waiting for whoever that is to get out of that parking so I can park my car there. And I was so kind enough to let the other person that was coming in the other direction to go ahead and keep it moving so I can park. I was being kind, that's what I do. And they had the nerves to take my parking. Just like that. And they knew that I was right there waiting. They knew that I was, going to make that turn. Oh my gosh. And I felt like that was a test. And my husband's looking at me, and I'm thinking, okay, you gonna learn today. Oh my gosh. I had to say something. I said, well, you knew that was my parking. She goes, yep. And oh my gosh. And I believe that week I had this ugly attitude. Again, I'm human. Today is a better day than yesterday. Okay, I'm learning as I'm continuing my life, and I'm like, and she had the longest lashes, and she just kept walking like, oh my gosh, this one doesn't have no problems conversating about how wrong she is, so the old me would have got out, right, told my husband, you know what, go ahead and just go down the street right quick and just come back in about 10-15 minutes, let me go ahead and handle this. That would have been the old me. Okay. But I had to really say what I felt that was wrong, and I had to keep it moving. So my husband was like, you know what, let's just go home. It was just, the vibe was just like, dang. But that was probably the only thing that went wrong out here, was the fact that someone took my parking after, during the holidays and things like that. But, sometimes you got to surrender, a lot of things occur because we react on certain things, depending on the situation. You could really save another day, live another day, if you just really just look at what you have, to really to have a better outcome. My family's first, my safety, my children's safety, my husband's safety is first. I need to look at that and keep it moving instead of reacting off the other people's stupidity. So, and that takes a lot of patience and having to surrender. The word surrender, period, just, you know what? Okay, you want to win? Go ahead, because I ain't playing. I'm not playing. At 40 years old, I ain't playing no games. I ain't got time for it. I'm all about survival. I'm all about living it up. And that's why I came here to Georgia, to really have a different view on life. And it was what it was. It is what it is. It really is another chance to really, get in touch more with myself, because it's mellow out here. It's not as active as California. To me, the Bay Area never sleeps. I mean, no matter what time I get up or what time I leave the house, it doesn't matter. There's always something open. Out here in Georgia, well, that part that I live at, things close. You want something from the store, you better make sure you get it at a certain time. Things are going to close. Even on Sunday, right? A lot of places out here are closed. So California is not like that whatsoever. And I do appreciate that. It's probably not as convenient for others, but for me, it just kind of just, I don't need to go to the store if I don't need to go to the store. I mean, there's a halt on shopping, and that's another thing that I've learned, is, I'm not a big buyer anymore like I used to. I used to be into name brand things all the time. I mean, I like my certain things that I like to buy, that I appreciate, and I take care of it, and I bring it out when I want to. But most of the time, I just keep it real simple. Sandals, jeans, shirt, tights, tank top, light sweater, sandals, flip-flops. I don't go all out. My hair is just, being a mother of two and a homeschool teacher, a businesswoman, you really ain't got that time. Or do I need to get all dolled up to just go to the store and back? I'm over that whole stereotype of trying to get attention and things like that. Yeah, no, that's not me at all. My attention comes from my creative abilities. I don't need to show my ass or show my skin. You attract the wrong people. I'm nothing like that. If anything, I share myself with my husband, and he knows I clothe myself. And when it's just me and him, I could feel real comfortable, and he could really appreciate me more. And I ain't bagging no one that likes to show their ass or anything like that, but you kind of attract the wrong people. And then, sometimes you wonder, why is this happening? Well, it's because you showed up like that. So if you want someone that can respect you a little bit more, and maybe have a longer, a longer standing relationship, then, show up like that. But it's nothing like getting dressed up and dolled up for your man, or your husband, or if you just want to feel good. I ain't knocking none of that. Ain't nobody being judgmental. That's just how I roll. I like to present myself like that. So what else? Meeting great people out here. I don't see not that many homeless people. Oh my gosh, that is amazing. In California and Bay Area, oh my gosh, for some time before the pandemic, it just started getting worse. homeless people everywhere, sleeping at bus stops now. I understand, the freeways behind it, under it, and behind buildings, but it was like bus stops. And every chance I got, if I had extra dollar bills, I would just save them, and just to, help out, or water bottles, anything to help the homeless. It's so heavy out there in California. And to see children too involved in that, it's really it's heartbreaking for me. If I only had the funds to be able to have things set up for those that are unable to take care of themselves, I would definitely be pouring out. But every little thing counts, right? Like just to know that they feel your appreciation, and they know that people care, it goes a long way, and it might hopefully uplift them to do better than where they are. So I look at things like that, but out here in Georgia, Griffin part, I have yet to really see homeless people. So, and I really don't know about, organizations out here that do help the homeless. I know they do have big food banks out here that help those that are unable to really afford food for their families. So I know they have that out here, and it's really nice to have for those that can't afford food, especially if you have a big family. So out here they do have those type of things. What else? The farms and the lands out here are very nice. It actually inspires you to want to have something like that in the future, and that's something that I'm aiming for. Is a good size land for myself and our family, and also for their family when they get older and want to settle down. I want it all set up. So that's another goal. That's another goal of mine to have for our family, is a foundation that they can go to and build. One thing out here in Georgia, private properties are no joke. They'll tell you as you drive down these roads, private property, stay off, beware of the red dot. That was enough for me to say there's something real when they talk about the red dot. I'm thinking, oh, they can see you from a mile away, and dare to touch on their land, they is definitely going to execute. And it's scary, but it's pretty much out there. You see the sign, don't go on nobody's property. It's very simple. So yeah, I like that about here in Georgia. You got your own land, your own property, that you got that control of, if anyone dares to step on your land, you have that ability to go ahead and handle things in your own way, especially when it comes to your safety. They do bear arms out here for the safety of the citizens of Georgia. I do agree, and I don't agree with that whole bit about carrying as you're going, to and from. But, things do happen, and it's like, how do you protect yourself, right? So for that being in place, and for things like that, having to protect yourself, it makes more sense. But another thing that's been occurring out here is a lot of children are being, it's very sloppy the way I see it on the news. Children accidentally picking up a gun and doing something, unfortunately, to hurt themselves. And I'm sure they're not aware of the consequences when they do that. As well as being at the wrong place at the wrong time, children sitting in cars, or just children at their normal destination, being a child, are being affected by these guns. So it's a good thing and a bad thing. I don't support, gun violence at all. I love the children. I look forward to, the next generation showing up and coming together in a more peaceful way than how I see my age range now, just wanting to, looking forward to their abilities and how they support themselves in the future, you know, with kindness, love, and just, not so wild, right? So, yeah. So again, aside from my jewelry business, for those that don't know, yes, I do have a jewelry business. You can check it out. It's at www.fmr1.com. Or you could check me out and my husband on Instagram. My Instagram is feminine and masculine R1. And my husband's Instagram is Timoti is Magic. And that's TIMOTIISMAGIC. So we create jewelry using gemstones, healing stones, and it's awesome. We've been doing it for some time now. That is available to those that are interested in checking that out. There are art pieces that I will be doing in the future. I don't know, maybe this weekend. I don't know, but I am looking forward to creating some art pieces and selling them and putting some of that away to build an organization here in Griffin, Georgia, to help the young youth become more creative. Give them the inspire them to really see what they're capable of. I just love it. My daughter, my oldest, between myself and my husband, she's 11 years old, and I remember when she turned 2, the doctor had said that she has a slight case of autism. And I don't know, I think I was in denial. Or as a mother, you kind of just, especially if you've never had anything like that. I kind of had to just see it through and see what they were talking about. I am familiar with autism. But yeah, they stated that she had a small case of autism because she was unable to focus, when someone is having a conversation. So they evaluated her that way. And, my daughter did have her days. Actually, she really did have her days where she was throwing fits and things like that because, certain things made her upset and things like that. So I had to kind of live with that. But I was determined to, help her. And it was new for me. It was challenging. I knew that, that's my responsibility. No matter what, I love my children. It didn't matter how life was going to throw me my children, but I wasn't going to, I didn't know. I just said, okay, here it goes. My husband's going to be working. I am going to be working with our daughter. And when my husband comes home, he will as well work with our daughter. So she had this slight case of autism since she was 2. Some of the doctors, wanted her to be on certain medications, to help out with her autism. And I was against it. I felt that there was something that I could give her to comfort her. I had more patience and I dealt with the punches. I dealt with whatever was coming my way. I just felt like she just needs more attention. She just needs more love, And that's what I did. So, it was challenging in the beginning. She's 11 today. And now that autism is thrown out the window. You can't even tell other than when she speaks. She has her words or kind of here and there, but she's very aware. She's very focused. She's very smart. She's very artistic. I have to post some of her art. She's amazing. She doesn't trace. She kind of can look at things and draw. And the colors and things like that she brings to the table, and her art just is so uplifting. It motivates me. We motivate each other. But since we've been here in Georgia, things are not as fast paced when it comes to things for children to do. So she had more time with herself to be able to sit down and get this art going for herself. So grateful. And she's very talented. She loves music. If she could get herself involved with something else, I would say instrumental beats. Just if I got her a beat machine or a scratch table or something like that, she has that ability. And her father is very well at that. When I met her father, he was into music. He was into scratching and things like that. She has an ear for that. So I see where that comes from, and I know how far that can go, especially with herself. Music is another vibration to where it kind of it amplifies our moods. It gets us going. All depends on what we're listening to. So, I support our children, myself and my husband, on whatever they put their heart to. We definitely support it. Our whole family does. My mother had bought her an art table, a really nice art table to where it can bend and it has drawers, and that's what she has here in our living room area. I put it right next to the window where the sun is shining in and the trees are showing now that it's blossoming, just to invite that energy in, to get her more inspired. I feel like the sun plays a big part in our lives, and if we lock ourselves up and we're not getting that sun, it does cause depression. It does cause you to be moody, and it's not a healthy thing. So, get out there. If the weather is warm or if the sun is out, get out there for at least 15-20 minutes. If you're not enjoying the weather, do that for yourself. It does help out with depression. Another thing I had gained throughout the years was, grounding myself, to be able to, keep myself at a certain point, to where I'm not overwhelming myself, or, balancing my emotions, balancing myself. What things could I do? And one of them was putting my bare feet on the grass, myself and my children during the lockdown. And even today, when we go to the park or I go to my daughter's soccer practice, I'll take off my shoes and socks or my sandals, and I'll just put my feet on the bare ground and just take in, what it does to my body. I feel less heaviness lingering on me. I just feel more lighter. I feel more calm. My body doesn't feel as stiff. So research that grounding techniques. If you're going through a depression or just need more balance, connect with nature. It's all around us. You don't really have to go far to catch it. It's something with the ground in our bodies that just have that connection. Nature itself has that connection, that feeling. And just touching a tree, the tree huggers out there, I know a lot of you have seen something like that, and they do it because there's so much backed by nature. We have a lot of similarities. It starts from a seed and it grows, and then it goes through that stage of where it dies and then it grows back. That right there, that whole thought process of just when winter comes, everything dies and then everything blossoms again. There's a relation there when it comes to dealing with self internally, which I will get into that as well, and the inner work that I've done throughout my years to get to this place of understanding nature. I see a lot of similarities with myself and how nature is, and comparing and analyzing how we both are similar. It gets you going on looking forward to when things do start to blossom again, right? When there are heavy times and it's dark and it's a heavy period in your life or my life, I know that there will be light at the end of that tunnel. it's all about patience. It's like when you plant a seed, it takes time for it to grow, and the patience on that it's well worth it, because the outcome is it's going to blossom, it's going to grow, it's going to give you that effect throughout your body, to know that it's blossoming. Everything is starting to grow again. You get to start smelling different scents. Some trees do have that. Some plants do have that effect where you're just walking by and you just smell this nice woody or flowery essence, and it's just it's very nice. It's very nice. So yeah. So I just wanted to jump on here and just vibe out with everyone with my cup of coffee. Just again, get familiar with everyone that's tuning in, and I'm sending everyone love and a wonderful weekend. We're almost done with April, and looking forward to May for sure. The weather's picking up, and getting to venture out a little bit more with my family, and I hope you do the same as well. And also just letting you know, if things aren't working out right now in your life, go outside and get that fresh air. Look at the nature and really, be with yourself for a second. And believe it or not, things will start to come down a bit for you to analyze on the direction that where you need to go. It really will. It takes time to get in that place, because it all depends, we put so much on our minds, and depending on what we're thinking, at that time, it's just kind of like, give yourself a break. I know things can be really heavy, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to our family, when it comes to ourselves, when it comes to our jobs, or just dealing with children. It can bring a toll on a person. Find ways to relieve yourself, and there's plenty of it out there. And I will talk about that on another day, on how and what I went through. And I'm not perfect. Just me being able to speak out is a way to relieve, myself on certain things that is going on in my life at this time, and just feeling myself up with more joy and happiness, being able to express freely, and that is as a relief for me. So I wish everyone well out there. I will jump on here maybe a little bit later today or tomorrow. It all depends on the energy, right? How I'm going to show up. But I hope everyone has a wonderful day, a safe day. And I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. And definitely, if the weather is right, get out there, breathe in that beautiful air, and touch that ground. And if you're close by the water, for me, please put your feet in that water and touch that sand. There's no beach here, not in my area, but we do have rivers and things like that. So I'm real cautious on that. I probably take my time in that until I get more familiar. But yeah, okay. So love you. Stay and keep love in your heart, and stay positive, and find ways to move forward and enjoy life. This is Miss May, and I am signing out. Take care. Bye-bye.